When I took this job 5 years ago, I did not think that one day I would be covering a Ticats practice in Moose Jaw.
No.
And yet, here we are, Steve Milton with the Hamilton Spectator. We are in Moose Jaw covering the final practice of the Hamilton Ticat season before the Grey Cup. Steve, they seemed like a pretty loose bunch.
Yeah, they are, and I think in their heads they've got themselves to thinking that whatever happens here now might be bonus. They want to win this thing and they want to give it everything they have, but I think they've taken some pressure off themselves. I think at the breakfast I had some outside observers say to me yesterday, at all the Grey Cup breakfast they'd been to, they'd never seen a looser team. There was quite a difference between the Riders and the Cats at their respective meals for the media. It was a luncheon for the Saskatchewan, and there was a real sense of we have to do this. Not like panic or anything like that, but a real sort of almost Mount Rushmore look on their face. And there's a little more fun among the Ticats right now. They'll be serious for sure, but
this is basically par for the course this season. Ticats now dealing with the adversity of weather, of having to travel on the bus again to practice
in uniform.
Yeah, and I mean this has just been the season. This has been the season in a nutshell, really.
But wouldn't this be crazy though if they didn't come in uniform, because it would have broken their pattern?
Yeah, exactly.
to practice.
There are also a couple of injury updates I think we should pass along. On the plus side, Brian Simmons, offensive tackle, practiced today, as did Greg White. The guard, Delvin Breaux, the corner, also practiced today. I think that's really huge. Absolutely. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Right.
I think, Simmons is obviously the guy they like at that tackle spot. White's been there all year and is a real versatile guy, which makes him handy. And Breaux, I think he's their best cover guy.
Yeah, I think if you start with White and Simmons, they won't say this, but trenches are always important. They'll say that. They'll say that it's the most important thing in the battle in the trenches, meaning the two lines on either side of the ball. I think, and I think they think, when you get a slick field, and that's what we're going to have on this turf. It's very slick. It was slick for practice the other day. That battle becomes even more important because you're probably going to run more, right? And to have two guys in there that you're more confident with than what you went with before, and not that the other guys didn't do well, I think that has an awful lot to do with their chances of success.
On the negative side, safety Courtney Stephen didn't practice today. Obviously, Austin didn't really have an update after practice. Just sort of said they're trying to get to the game healthy as they can. Stephen is a game time decision because we won't know until game time whether he's playing. So,
but day 3 in a rookie and not playing, that's really sort of. I mean, I know it's a different kind of game. It's the last game of the year, but generally, when guys that don't practice on day 3 tend to be guys with some veteran sense on them that get to play.
The Ticats have a bunch of different options they can do to replace Stephen. One is obviously Neil King. They also, they've got Eric Harris. They've got all kinds of different things that they can do ratio-wise to accommodate for the loss of Stephen if that actually happens. Is it significant? I think it's somewhat significant, no question. Stephen's been a great player for them this year, especially as a rookie. But, I mean, it's that time of year. Frankly, given the time of year that it is, this is a pretty healthy Ticat team.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. I mean, everybody's going to be banged up. We don't really know how much the Saskatchewan team is banged up. I think that the adversity that they talked about, the fact that they went 45 minutes on the bus today in the same kind of garb that they usually spend 8 minutes doing, but they were ready for that. I think there's been a sort of a hardening of character on this team by the adversity, as there is with any individual or organization that has to go through adversity and survives and prevails. There's a hardening of character. It comes back to what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And obviously the Ticats are a much stronger team than when they saw these Rough Riders the last time.
Well, and Austin sort of said it in his press conference. He sort of said, look, he's been preaching the same things. Look after the things that you can control, and those are a very small number of things, and shut out all the rest of it, and just focus on the things that you need to worry about. He has said that over and over and over again.
Don't you think that's part of their lightness?
But now,
because they got a small package to deal with.
But now
he's convinced them of that.
When you get to the Grey Cup and deal with yet more adversity, it's like, well, okay, we've been doing this all year long. And what he said is,
like the rain in Guelph.
That's right. He just basically said, why would you change your message, when you've been doing it all year long?
Well, it's worked, and the guys have bought in, and that's why I think it's become their team. I think he made a pitch to them of how you should operate, and keeps hammering down on that. But he emphasized that it's their team. It's their team. It's not my team. It's not the fans' team, even though a lot of players feel that it is. And I think that gives a sense of individual responsibility. Could it be that that's why the fourth quarters have been so good recently? And that's the one thing. to me, I think you have to make the Saskatchewan Roughriders the favorites here by more than home field advantage, which is 3 points, and that's what is reflected in the odds if anybody bets on these games anymore. But there's something that sticks in the back of my mind, and it's about those fourth quarters. It's about Henry Burris in those fourth quarters, and about this team's very imperceptible move to creating turnovers, which they didn't do for the first 10 games of the season. And really, in the last 4 or 5, they've been pretty good at it. And they've been very good against the run in the last, as somebody was pointing out to me, 9 games, I think. That's an awful lot. That's a half a season. And a half a season in the CFL is like a season in most other sports leagues.
Make sure you check out Saturday Spectator. We'll have a whack of stuff in there from Regina, and make sure you check out the Scratching Post blog. Lots of updates there.
Are we blogging tomorrow?
We will have another video. Yeah, we'll have another video from Mosaic Stadium during the walkthroughs. We will be dressed much differently.
Appropriately.
Yes. Reporting from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan for the Hamilton Spectator with Steve Milton. I'm a very hoarse Drew Edwards.